Hello, everybody. My name is Joshua, and here is my What if Deku theory. That's not theory video. Yeah. Okay. He's gonna have a color quirk, which is actually three quirks rolled into one, but let's go. Uh, at the age of 4, in that scene where Deku goes, "Yeah, gotcha, and if you don't stop, I'll stop you myself." And Bakugo and the rest of the rest of the father, his father friends, don't believe him and start rushing at him. As Deku's Deku's hair goes from his normal white hair to blue, as a barrier pops up right in front of him, stopping them all interacts. It's like them hitting a wall, and it's like, what the, ow, what the hell? And it's like Deku's like for a second, it's like, whoa, I can't believe. Wait, did I just do that? It's like, never mind. And it's like, back off. And it's like, no, I go like, fine. Ugh. I guess you want a quirkless use. I guess you want quirkless after all. Deku, as he tells the rest of his friends to just leave him alone and just leave. And the kid that goes protecting says thank you, and then like a couple minutes later, Inko picks him up, and on the car ride, Deku says he finally got his quirk. And like, and Inko's like, what? As she immediately stops the car, whips it back around, and he drives and drives to the quirk doctor, and it's like, what? Because she thought Deku didn't have a quirk. And hearing this, he's like, she has to make sure, otherwise, there's no way, right? So once I get to the quirk doctor, Deku tells the doctor what happened. He's like, the doctor's like, oh, really? I could have sworn you were quirkless, but maybe not. Okay, I'm gonna run some tests. I'm gonna have to wait outside, and like, let's say 20 minutes go by, and they finally get the test results, and they're like, well, ma'am, your son is very interesting. I'm gonna say that. uh, uh, he goes over and says, your son actually has 3 quirks, but they operate weirdly. And going like 3? Deku told me he only had 1. Izuku only told me he had 1. Yeah, from what I heard, yeah, that is blue. That's his blue quirk. His barrier quirk. That's his barrier quirk. He has 2 others, being a fire quirk and an electrification quirk. When I but that's not the weirdest part about his quirk. Should I say quirks? And go like, then what is? Him then going and saying, well, your son has the ability to not only use more than one of them at the same time, but can actually mix them. What do you mean by mixing? Ingo asks, and he's like, think of it as combining the two. And like Deku hearing all this is like super excited, and then he asks, does this mean I can be a hero? And the doctor going like, yeah, kid, you can. Then gives him a lollipop, and they go, then gives Deku a little lollipop, and like, well, off you go. That kid's definitely gonna be an incredible hero when he goes up. And go very much thankful that they did this. As they go home, as Inko Deku go home, and they're just happy. Okay, so I'm gonna jump to the middle school because his childhood isn't really that important. It's basically the exact same, but Bakugo doesn't bully him. Well, not as much. He does drop like an occasional insult here and there. He keeps saying he's gonna beat Izuku, but knowing his barrier quirk, he doesn't try to actually fight him until like later when they get to middle school. But since the teachers aren't biased and not being assholes, uh, they don't let Katsuki bully Izuku. And when I say Deku in this timeline is strong, I mean he is strong. He's on par with Prime All Might with his abilities, and probably even with his this quirk that he has is very much stronger than One for All's. Uh, but I didn't actually give it a name. So let's call it Color Shift. Yeah, Color Shift. So they're in the okay, they're in the class. Now they're in the class, and the teacher comes in like, get that scene where the teacher comes in and is like, I was gonna hand out these job application forms, tossing it up in the air, but I know you all want to be heroes. As everybody starts to use their quirks, and the classroom is going mad. The teacher goes, calm down, buddy. You're not allowed to use your quirks inside. And he then picks up two papers that are on his desk, like, oh yeah, Katsuki, you're going to you and Midori are going to the national school, correct? Yeah, but I'm gonna do way better than that, Deku, than him. I'm gonna do much better than him. Pointing at Izuku, saying his desk, and it's like, what did I do? Like, yeah, teacher, I'm also going there. Well, I'm glad to know we're gonna have two. I'm gonna have two heroes coming from my classroom. And like, okay, and they're going with the normal day. Class finishes. Deku mumbling as normal because he's still Zuko. He's just this time he has one of the most OP quirks in existence. And he runs late because two kids accidentally like blew up a door. When I mean blew up, it wasn't like Bakugo, but they got in a heated fight and they actually and they used their quirks and like goddamn. So Zuko like he really doesn't want to disappoint his mom and get home late and all. So he starts running. He takes the shortcut to the bridge. And as he gets there, he's like happy. He's like, I can do this. I'm going to get into UA. And I'm going to become one of the greatest heroes ever. Laughing to himself slightly as he hears a rumble coming from the sewer gate behind him. As he turns out, he sees the sludge villain pop up. And suddenly, like, I can't believe that freak was in town. And then he turns to Zuko. Oh. Well, aren't you a hero, kid? You're gonna make a perfect body for me to snatch. As he like lunges at Izuku, and Izuku goes like yellow as his hair turns yellow and electrical sparks fly off of him. As he just runs past the room and runs around the room. Before you even notice it, Deku's his hand is in the villain as he just shocks him because his electrification quirk is like a speed quirk. It kind of it works like the Speed Force, but obviously it isn't the Speed Force. Plus it basically has an electromagnetic field around him that he can control. You can't make it bigger than around like 2 meters. It's not bigger than 2 meters around him, and that's that. It's like Bill, gets knocked out because he just got shocked, and his body's like mostly made out of water, so he's gonna get knocked out. As Omei pops out of the sewer gate, it's like, I am here, seeing the scene in front of him, and he's like, kid, did you take that villain down? Like, Izuku seeing All Might, and he was like, yeah. As he turns his quirk off, because All Might would be getting there a little faster, because he didn't get as. Because I'm gonna say, Izuku, he took his time walking there. He wasn't really running and all, but. He didn't want to be late, but it would kind of get like a little late. Seeing a here was a film fight like a couple blocks away from where he was, so it was fine. Like him getting Izuku, then getting All Might's signature, and then walking off. All Might not thinking too much of it, just bottling up the villain, and then jumping on top of that building and detransforming. Because he's tired and all. So that whole thing with Bakugo getting caught by such an incident just doesn't happen. Now, for his training, this is gonna be a big difference. So he's gonna actually be training with his grandfather, and his grandfather's like gonna be like a Garp almost. He's gonna be like Garp, where he's a lovable dumbass, but he's also a hard ass. So, and their quirks are actually like a little similar, but not the same. Like they can switch between multiple different quirks almost. His grandfather's quirk works weird, a little weird. His grandfather's quirk has the ability to store quark energy. Now, quark energy, you're making up some new things now. Quark energy is the energy left over from a quark. Like, let's say, a normal fire and a fire created by a fire quark are two different things. Elementally, so. His father can store up the fire that was created by a fire quark and then use it later. His ability to, like that. That's how his quirk works. And he stored like a lot. He can basically, it's basically like basically a slightly worse, but slightly better version of Monoma's quirk. And as Deku like trains with his father, thinking of new ways to like use his powers, because he has like a lot. He hasn't figured out how to properly, combine his quirks. Although he can do it, it takes a ton of energy. It's like, quirks are in fact, like the anime says, the quirks like an extension of your body. So they're like muscles. If he can't overuse his quirk, otherwise he's gonna be tired as fuck. That's why he can't combine them properly yet, because he's still like, it takes a lot of energy. He can do it, but his body's gonna be screaming afterwards. So he's gonna be focusing on his speed, how hard he can make his barriers, because his barriers like before, like as a child, they were as strong as like a window, like a normal window. At this point in time, and at the state he's gonna be training at for the 10 months. At the end of 10 months, his barriers are gonna be like strong enough to tank like, I want to say like 3 punches from Prime All Might. Like, that's how strong they are. Like, one punch cracks it, the second punch makes the crack even bigger, and then the third one finally like breaks through it. Well, okay, let's not make it that strong, but you can at least take one punch from Prime All Might. One of those. Before he gives out. That's how strong he can make his barriers. But his known barriers are not like as strong, maybe just a little stronger than a concrete wall. And his electrification quirk is very like he can move very fast, up to like he can move up to Mach 2 at this point. He is gonna be getting like even faster, approaching like Mach 10, but that's like later. And his fire quirk, like I mentioned earlier, uh, he's gonna be using it like a black whip almost. He can easily like tone. You can dial back the temperature if he wanted to. So you can make the temperature like zero, not absolute zero, obviously, but they are zero. You won't feel anything in his flame. So he uses the black whip. He can burn. It's basically pyrokinesis, but even better, if I had to describe it. And his father, taking his quirk and taking the energy that's bit of his quirks to help him get better, and just making him as strong as he thinks he can make him. Because his grandfather is a retired pro hero, so he knows some stuff and actually can help him a bit, studying and all. So after 10 months is up, he takes the UA entrance exam. He doesn't fall this time. No, he does fall, but he just catches himself using his electrification quirk to just like using his bear quick to just like create like a pillow and just like a barrier in front of him to stop him and just put him back up like normal. So we don't get that scene with Uraraka. And since Deku isn't didn't get bullied all that much as a kid growing up, he is pretty confident. Still mumbles a lot. Nothing too bad. So we don't get that. So So we still get that scene when Ida complaining about Izuku's mumbling and all. And let's say for the sake of this, since Izuku is pretty smart already, plus he got help from his grandfather, he easily aces. He easily gets like I want to say like 85% on the test. Now for the physical portion of this, he does something similar to mixing. It's called splitting. Basically, him using his like a half and half quirk. You can't obviously use all three at once, since that puts a massive amount of strain on his body. But splitting it still does put a lot of strain on his body, but not as much. Like he can handle it. It's like lifting a heavy box. So yeah, you can probably you can pick it up and lift it. It is pretty heavy, but you're gonna be fine. You can easily like walk. You can easily speed walk with it. You get to run with it because you might drop it, but you can easily speed walk with it. But before we go, they get to sign their cards and all. And Izuku over there by the door, it's like he's walking over to it. Ida like stopping. It's like thinking he's like going to talk to Uraraka, and it decides like it was like, but Izuku like, what? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just trying to get to the front. And it was like, my apologies. That's easy. That's how I think. That's at least how I think Ida would do that. Anyways, as Mike shots like, there's no counter in a real battle. As the door opens and all. Izuku using splitting to use both his electrification quirk and his beer quirk at the same time to basically do what Sonic did in Sonic Prime at that end bit where he got to the purple area. Being able to run on these berries and make them disappear. As he he basically coats his hand in a bunch of barriers, kind of like hockey, and basically just runs over and blows up, like just punches through robots. Like there's like a massive dent in the robots when he hits it, because his barriers are hard and he's moving pretty fast. And my knowledge about physics, although is little, all I know is if hard thing go fast, it's gonna hurt. So yeah, so you easily like blows through like 30 orbits before he gets like tired and getting around like 5, 2, and 1 pointers, maybe some 3 pointers in here, and getting around like a good 56 points before like he gets tired, but like starts panting, like starts using sword like at a like in an alley. In an alley to like catch his breath, not to not do attention from the robots, like catch his breath a little bit. Like okay, let's see. I've covered most of the robots in the series, so might as well get it. Let's see how many robots actually left, and use this fire quirk to just like fly up there using like jetting up the wall, and both like just enough where you can like grab the ledge of the top of the building and climbing up. Taking a look down, seeing the surroundings, as behind him a missile, a missile that got fired by a robot near, but there's somebody destroyed, veering off, almost about to hit him, as he blocks it with his like he uses fire and just catches it with the hand. Like, whew, that was close. But then throwing the missile like a different one, making sure like no one was gonna get hit. Obviously, he's not stupid. He's gonna be careful from how he uses his fire because he knows exactly how dangerous this can be. Because he almost set a forest on fire once when he was a kid, and it was like, nope, nah, I'm not doing that again. Okay, then as he catches his breath for a little bit, like for like takes a 5 minute rest, and then jumps off the building, and then like gets a run up, and jumps off the building, before then using his fire and just basically like melting down every robot below him. Like he notices like there's a ton of robots like on the other side of the building. Like he jumps down, puts his hand out, and just a massive gulp of fire just pours out of his hand, and just everything and even everything like below him and even some of the surrounding buildings and the pavement gets scorched, and there's very little left of the robots because they got burned. And Zugu then gets uh, he then runs out like I got around like 80 points, so I think I'll be fine, as he just as now instead of focusing on the robots, he focuses less on the robots and more on the more on more on the people more on the people around him. It's like he's noticing that a bunch of people are almost getting hurt, so he uses electric quirk and goes yellow, and just zips around helping people where he can and all, and does this for like the for like another for another 20 minutes before Principal is like, what an interesting young man. 3 quirks in one. That's a sight for sore eyes. I wonder how he'll handle this. As he lifts up the cover and presses the button to let out the 0 pointer. And Zuko's still running around helping people where he can. He's then he takes he just turns off his book and starts just walking around. As he sees the 0 pointer coming, like he starts running. He starts running away. And it's like then he hears someone's cry and turns around and see Uraka there, and he's like, no, I have to help her. He's like, I gotta run, but and then before he can even finish his sentence in his mind, he starts running towards her. It's like, what the hell am I doing? There's no way I can take that thing down, right? And he starts like calculating in his head, like he's like pretty good, so he's pretty good at like geometry, so he can do like mental geometry while he's running, and he's like noticing like, if I use my barrier quick, I might be able to save her, but the but the rest of the but the rest of the 0 pointer might actually hurt her, because I don't think I can make I don't know exactly how far I'm away from her, so he can't really make a proper barrier to block the thing for her. And he notices, even if he uses electrification to jet over there and try to help her, she's still covered by that her leg is still caught on trapped by the piece of rubble, and he'll probably get crushed with her. So he decides to use his electrification quirk to like jet over before then switching to it, and basically he lets it loose. He he points both his hands up like this, and just goes Jetbird as a highly concentrated blast of basically plasma. That's how hot he's making his flames. Like pierces through and cuts the 0 pointer clean into. And he's like, and that last bit really made him tired. So he's he's wobbling at all, and it's like as he looks over to Uraka, who would be obviously the one who I'm talking about, who's trapped underneath that rubble. He helps her up, helps her out of the rubble and asks if she can stand. Like, no, I can't. I think my ankle might be sprained. It's like, and then he notices a recovery goal, walking over, and it's like, recovery goal. Okay, I'm gonna take you to a recovery goal. Is it like picks her up by her arm and just like puts her over his shoulder, like walks over to a recovery goal as she kisses Uraka on like the forehead. Let's say that. As her legs healed, and then Walker then gets off from Zuko's like shoulder and like stands by herself, and then Zuko's like, okay, bye. It like walks off. It's like, huh. Well, he was so nice, and that's what Uraka's thinking in her head. Like, wait, I didn't ask him for his name, but I didn't even tell him my name. I was just gonna like sit on that for like the entire day. And then like later when like Zuko's home, he like a couple days later, while Zuko's home, like in his room watching some random how-to video on how to make a Gundam, because he just recently bought that. When I say Gundam, it's like an All Might Gundam that he found online. As his mom knocks on, it's like, Zuko, here's a letter for you. He's a package for you. I mean, like, what? It's like opens the door and like, here's a package for you, Zuko. It's from UA. It's like Deku like immediately sitting down the Gundam pieces, and grabs it and opens it up. Like, hopefully this is my acceptance letter. And he then sees that little device. Hologram device. As it starts playing, like, young man, you did exceptionally well, scoring about 130 points, 132 points total. Like, I thought I only took around like 87. I thought I only had 89 points. 89 points. What the hell happened? Like. For you did not only do incredibly well destroying all those robots. Honestly, you almost broke my record. Only a couple about short there. Only on 20 robots short. And with all those people you saved, you showed you are an incredible hero. And you are obviously one of the best students we could possibly ask for. So welcome to your Hero Academia. And Izuku's like really happy, and he's like, I did it. I actually did it. And his mom's like crying, like, I can't believe my baby got into UA. And that's where we're gonna leave it off for this video. See you later, guys.